Well, happy New Year's Eve, everyone. We're still on the runway to New Year's Day tomorrow, and I thought we would take some time to do a New Year's end of year checklist, because I think there are a lot of things that we want to revisit from the past to think about in the future. Well, let's just do a rundown. Number one, pull out your garden journal for a multitude of different reasons, but it's a wonderful way to spend New Year's Day doing things like, if you're like me, you just stuff things into your garden journal. You stuff plant tags, you stuff articles, but you don't necessarily put them in the right place and you don't record them. So I am going to take the time to go through and really put in the proper position and in the proper week of the gardening year when I want to reference that information. The other thing that I'm going to do is, we talked about last year these wonderful little ivy printers. Last year on New Year's Day, and this is starting to be a tradition for me, on January 1st, I take a picture of certain areas. Now, my garden journal, because I haven't lived here that long and I just got my journal last year, doesn't have a lot of entries in it, but I will take another picture of the cottage in the front because it will be a wonderful reference for me to see how large things in particular like the evergreens have grown, and I can compare one year to the next. If I want to isolate out one specific flower bed, I can do the same thing from one year to the next if I really want to track that specific area. The other thing that I'm taking notes on in my garden journal is I'm walking around the garden, see me walking around the garden, and I am noting any areas that might need an evergreen, because right now pretty much the deciduous things have lost their leaves and what remains is evergreen structure. So one area that I noticed that I want to plant an evergreen, Stuart, if you can back up, darling, without, okay, beep, beep, beep. Yeah. So here's an example. I noticed I've got one of these moondance hydrangeas from Southern Living right here, but and it's great when it's all in leaf and in its full glory, but right now it just looks kind of like a twigless blob. So it would be much more impactful, I think, if I had an evergreen right here and I transplanted this somewhere else. It would give more definition to this space, it would give more punctuation to this space and just make it look more finished. So I think probably what I'll do is transplant rather, a better boxwood right here and transplant this in another location. So that's a notation that I am making in my garden journal. Where I want to, or where I really need to have more evergreen structure in my winter garden. This is the perfect time to do that. When we come back, let's talk about number two, some seeds that I've got on my list that I want to make sure that I order before I forget. And number two, on my New Year's Eve garden end checklist, I am starting to really compile and aggregate all of my different catalogs. If you're like me, you've already started to receive some seed catalogs, bulb catalogs. I got my White Flower Farm catalog. I can't wait to go through it. And as I go through them, I am taking note. Now granted, caveat here, I don't have a ton of room to add much more, so I'm being very selective. But when I see something that's extremely enticing to me, I am making sure that I clip that out, that I find out exactly what that variety is, and in my garden journal I'm making a notation on that and going ahead and ordering them if I can. Because while we can't be working out in the garden, we can be thinking about it. So in one of my Garden Gate magazines, I found three things that I definitely want to grow. One is linen zinnias, Zinnia elegans, because I think it's just so beautiful. All of these, like queen lime zinnias, these I have not grown in the past, but I think I'm going to try growing some of these in my forgotten bed this year. So I am looking for either the seeds, or if this is too much of a new introduction, then I will look for it in garden centers or something similar to this in the seed catalogs. The other recommendation they made on two new plants are Happy Jack, tiny little eggplants. And by the way, we'll put better photos of these where you can look at them more directly, and some sugar basket orange cherry tomatoes. Why on the orange cherry tomatoes? Because these have a wonderful cascading habit. That's what caught my eye, and I want them to cascade over my raised beds in the back. So these are just 3 things that are on my list. I've clipped these out. I'm putting them on my bulletin board. I will go ahead and order the seeds if they're available, and then I will place these in my garden journal when I need to plant them. So these are the kinds of things that I want to do in the dead of winter, preferably maybe even New Year's Day by the fireplace, because I want to indulge in all things gardening. When we come back, we'll talk about number 3. And before I forget, please make sure to join us this Sunday, January 4th at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for a Linda Vater Live. Let's talk about our words of the year, any kind of resolutions we might be making, patterns that we have noticed in the past that we might want to change in the coming year. And one thing that I'm doing is, last year was pretty rugged, so I'm going to burn, I got these in Santa Fe, I'm going to burn a sage stick to get rid of all last year's toxins, and then I'm going to burn another sage stick to welcome in 2026 for a propitious year. So we can talk about those kind of fun things. Then secondly, I've already started to hear from you. I've only mentioned it once, and I think a number of people have already requested that I put their names on the list to come to Oklahoma City for a boutique garden experience. We are looking now May 1st through May 5th. It's going to be absolutely fun, and I will be getting more information out to you. We can only cap it at 30 people. I think that's as many as we can accommodate, but we'll get you information on pricing, on all the different things we're going to experience here in Oklahoma City, and a lot more detailed information coming up. But if you are interested and you want to make sure you reserve one of those spots, our list is pretty full already, then please send an email to support@lindavater.com and let me know that you want us to put your name on the list. I noticed that a lot of my now friends that I went on some of these European Garden Gate garden tours with, they're going to be coming to Oklahoma City. So I think it'll be fun, not only for you to experience Oklahoma City, but for you to experience one another. So when we come back, let's talk about what else is on our New Year's Eve garden checklist. Number 3, you may have noticed that I took off my jacket and now I just have my color blend sweatshirt on. When I came out this morning, it was 38, which is not too cold, but it's still chilly for those of us in the South, but it's supposed to get up to 62 today. This is what it's going to be a week from what it was like last week on December 24th and Christmas Day, when it was in the high 70s and the 80s. I don't want to forget that, so I'm going to make sure that I this year channel my inner meteorologist and I record those kinds of extremes. If I were really good about it, every day I would record the highs and lows on that specific date. But at a minimum, I really want to record those exceptional weather events so that I can look back and I think, oh gosh, what year was it that we were able to dine outside on Christmas Day because it was so inordinately warm? And I'll be able to reference that in my garden journal. In general, if you haven't already purchased one of mine, this is my sales pitch. I have actually referenced it several times this week because I wanted to check on things like weights and measures and what were some conversions that I needed to make for some different metrics. I wanted to check on my plant inventory, and then I'm also, as I said earlier, going to record seeds and other plants that I want to incorporate into the garden this year. My other tip for keeping your garden journal is don't necessarily put something in it when you're thinking about it. So for example, right now, I could write on New Year's Eve or on New Year's Day that I want to plant some of those zinnias, some of those linen zinnias. But when I really need to record that is on the date when I would begin to seed them or plant them in the garden. So I'm going to make a mental note to order them, but then I'm going to make a mental note probably after our last frost date, which is April 15th here. On April 16th, I'm going to plant those linen zinnias. So put those kinds of notations in the spot when you need to do it. That will be, kind of a nudge in the ribs to remind you to do what you had intended to do on New Year's Eve. Number 4, do some garden dreaming. Get out all of your gardening books or your flower arranging books or your garden design books and just have them at the ready to reference. It's a wonderful way to spend New Year's Day. I love spending New Year's Day doing that, just dreaming. But then figure out ways that you can make manifest those dreams in practical ways. So one thing that I am absolutely obsessed with one person is Ariella Shazar. I have 2 of her garden or her flower design books, and I think they are just delicious. They are just so exotic, so whimsical, so magical, very Constant Spry. And by the way, right here, Stuart, let's put up a little snippet on maybe from Wikipedia, because I reference her frequently, and that is who is Constant Spry. But what I have noticed is that I often look at her arrangements and I think, but how can I make this apply to my own garden? And we'll put a link to this book up, because one thing I have noticed is quite frequently, I don't have the contents of what is in her arrangements. And so I am doing a couple of different things. I'm starting to look at the contents of her arrangements and think, okay, what outside in my garden or in a weed patch or that I could easily forage replicates something that she's got in some of her arrangements. And then I'm also deconstructing some of the arrangements and thinking, oh, I want to grow that as a cut flower so that I can use it in some of these floral compositions, which is why I then determined that I wanted to grow some of those linen Zinnia elegans, those beautiful, beautiful zinnias I showed you earlier. So that's a way that you can dream and be practical about it at the same time. Execute your dreams. Execute what you really want to happen in this magical world of gardening, because it doesn't just happen by magic. We have to think through the process. So I love these books. I would love to meet her someday. And I have this one and I have another one of hers, and we will put a link to both of those books here in the description box and hopefully here on screen. And finally, let's take inventory. Let's take inventory on what we have in the way of our fertilizers, of things to address pests and other kinds of garden diseases. Take inventory of what you've got and what you might need to get more of before spring starts. I love feeling like I've got a head start on that kind of thing. The other thing that I like to do is, Stuart, if you will just torque, and I do feel so happy to have my garage cleaned out. By the way, so many of you told me that you did the same thing. I am checking all of my batteries and all of my chargers that go to my Lively blowers and other kinds of gardening equipment, and also my Works gardening equipment. Some of the chargers don't work. Sometimes it's the batteries that are dead, and I am taking inventory on all of those so that if I need to replace the charger or I need to replace the battery, I can do that during the winter before I need it in the spring. So that's another thing that I'm taking inventory on. You'll notice that I also have all of my pruners, long-bladed pruners, loppers, all of that here, because I am going to get all of these sharpened. I will either take them someplace to have them sharpened, or maybe Kayla has some place where she takes hers, because I want all of those sharpened, oiled, cleaned up, and ready to go for spring, so I can really get a head start on all of those. Well, once you get out in the garden, you just want to garden. You don't want to take the time to do any of these unfun things. So I should call this, do the unfun things right now, so you can do all at once, so you can do the fun things. You can do the fun things in spring. But wait, Stuart just reminded me that last year I'd completely forgotten about it. I should have read a book while he was here. That we had a gentleman who came by in his truck and was sharpening things. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch that video, and I'm then going to immediately record the information on the sharpening guy in my garden journal. Because, boy, I thank you for remembering that, Stuart. I'd completely forgotten. Some of you might have remembered that, because that's a way that I can easily get all of my tools sharpened. And then here's my question of the day. Someone asked me, Linda, do I have a problem, since it does get below freezing here, do I have a problem storing my liquids, my insecticidal soaps, that kind of thing, my liquid fertilizers and things, spray paint in my garage? And I don't. And I've never really had a problem. So my question of the day is for you. Do you have a problem with that? It gets cold here, but maybe it doesn't, and it gets very cold, but maybe it doesn't get cold for long enough. So, or it could be that these old garages are just pretty well insulated. So that's really not an issue to me. And then finally, to address another comment, someone said, Linda, do you actually camp? And when you camp, do you camp, because this is where we've got our camping things, do you camp in a camper or do you camp in a tent? Well, when we camp in a tent, and that seemed to surprise some of you who couldn't imagine that Linda Vater would camp in a tent. So yes, we do camp in tents, and I like to do it. I don't like to do it in weather extremes, when it's very cold or when it's very hot. And yes, Hubs would like me to camp with him a lot more than I do, and that might be one of my resolutions for the new year. I did, after all, spend 3 weeks in Africa on my honeymoon camping. It was kind of glamping, but there was a lot of outdoor peeing and lots of ticks and pests and things like that. So I am a gardener, and I can handle all that kind of outdoorsy stuff. Let me know in the comments below if you too like to camp and where you like to camp. I would love to know that. And I would love to know if you like this channel. So please make sure to remember to give us a thumbs up. Give us it's not an aha. What is it, Stuart?
A hype.
A hype, and there's just somebody asked me, how do you do it? There's just a hype button there.
Right there by the like.
Yeah, right by the like button. You just have to hit it. It doesn't cost anything or whatever, but it does, I guess, help other people know about this kind of content if it would be valuable to them. So please do that. And most importantly, please share this community with others who might be a little bit lonely during this time of year, because it can be kind of dark and gloomy, and a lot of us suffer from seasonal affective disorder. And so even if it's cold and yucky outside, try to get outside so that you can really keep your dopamine, serotonin, all of those kind of hormonal levels up. And by the way, all of your comments and everything this year have just meant the world to me. I, for one, love January. I know that sounds crazy as a gardener, but I love January. There's no urgency to January. I can dream, I can plan, I can organize, and I love that. I love the relative calm of winter, so I hope you do too. Give me your thoughts on that as well. And mostly, Happy New Year's. 2026, it's gonna be a good year.